Hey everybody. This is a video of Lookout Mountain in Golden, Colorado. I was recently out in Denver for about 3 weeks as I signed up for the triple bypass road ride. Being from Dallas, obviously we don't have mountains or any substantial climbs like you would find out in the Rockies. So I went out there for a few weeks to train and acclimate to the elevation and just get many miles as I could on the road bike before the event. One of the things I found as a good training mountain, if you will, to do laps on and get used to the long climbs and the long descents was a place called Lookout Mountain in Golden, Colorado. And that's what this video is. It's one of my training rides from the parking lot at the park all the way up to the top of Lookout Mountain, which is also the burial and museum of Buffalo Bill, which is really cool in and of itself. But anyways, this climb's about right at 5 miles. I think it's 12 to 1400 feet of climbing. It could be as much as 16 depending on if you go past the museum and up to the mansion, which is actually what I did on this ride. I just didn't capture the video of that piece. But it's a really good climb. Definitely get your legs working. It's about 3 to 5% grade depending on certain sections. Some sections, really short sections, are punchy. Get up to 10% on the hairpin corners. But most of it's 3 to 5%. Being a flatlander from Dallas, obviously this was my first exposure to long sustained climbs. So it was a little bit of an eye-opener, but I really enjoyed it. I think one of the things I learned with these long climbs after doing this climb probably 8 or 9 times before I attempted the triple was you just have to settle in and just pedal, enjoy the scenery. You can't overpower the mountain, right? The climb is a very long climb, so you're going to run out of power before you reach the top, generally speaking, unless you're just an animal and you do this stuff every day. Oxygen is also a thing, right? Being limited up there in the altitude. I think this is about 7,000 feet up. Goes almost up to 8,000 feet, maybe a little bit beyond. So obviously being at sea level where I normally ride, it's a little bit less oxygen up there, so you got to get used to that. But I mean, for those of you that live in Denver or around the area and can kind of ride these type of things every day or whenever you decide to, I'm absolutely jealous. These views are breathtaking, especially at sunset. They're to die for. And the training is just absolutely bar none. Like, climbing up this thing and down burns a lot of calories, and you get real fit pretty quick if you do this on the regular. I loved the downhill. I had never experienced a sustained downhill like this until obviously I tried it, and the minute I started descending, I was in love. I've done a lot of mountain bike downhills, mountain bike parks, etc. I've been to Angel Fire, I've been to Bear Mountain in California, etc. Done lots of Bentonville trips. I've spent plenty of time going downhill on a mountain bike. There's just something about doing 40-45 miles an hour on a road bike down a mountain that is awesome in and of itself, that a mountain bike cannot touch. So I mean, I love that. I love the fact that in Denver, at least compared to Dallas, where I'm from, the drivers tend to be a little bit more respectful of cyclists. You can see a lot of the cars that do pass me kind of move out to the outer lane and give me even more room, which in Dallas maybe 1 out of every 10 cars would do that if they weren't on their phone, right? So definitely like that aspect. The sustained climbs, I wasn't in love when I started, but then I quickly grew to love them. In fact, climbing is actually, I enjoyed that on the road bike. There's a big payoff, obviously, but just the work and kind of settle in, kind of clear your mind, listen to some music, enjoy the scenery. It's great. Funny story, not on this video, but I think the day after this, I went back out to Lookout Mountain and I did 3 back-to-back climbs and descents. I think in the second one, thunderstorm rolled in. So if you haven't been in the mountains, the weather changes pretty quickly out there. And so I started the climb and it looked like it was going to rain, and when I got halfway up, the sky just opened up, right? So it was raining heavy, there was thunder and lightning kind of all around. Definitely a harrowing experience, but as quickly as it came, it disappeared. And one of the things I really think is cool about Denver is it's a desert, right? It's a desert with trees, and that as quickly as that rain hit the ground and soaked the ground, soaked me, by the time I got to the top, I was pretty much dry, and so was the road. So it evaporates really quickly out there. It's not humid like in the south, like we're used to. So definitely an interesting experience from that point of view, being caught in a mountain thunderstorm. I'm gonna do probably another video on the triple bypass. Unfortunately, I didn't catch a lot of video of it, but it was one epic ride, and I firmly believe these trips up to Lookout and down really helped me get ready for it. So if you're from maybe out of state, going to Colorado for the triple bypass, or you live in the state and maybe you've never done the triple and you're thinking about it, I would highly recommend laps up Lookout Mountain. If you can do 2, 3, 4 in a day, and then do it kind of pretty frequently, it'll get you accustomed to what some of the climbs are like. Like Vail Pass maybe is a little bit like this climb, but nothing beats obviously going out to Juniper and Loveland and actually riding it. Just be careful on Loveland if the road's not closed. I learned the hard way. That shoulder is really, really narrow, like the shoulder you see on the video here, and you have tanker trucks coming up and down. Sometimes they don't move over, so they get very close to you. That's because they can't go through the Eisenhower Bridge, or the tunnel, sorry, because they're hazmat. So just be careful if you're going up Loveland, but Juniper you should have no problem. I think those are really good practice routes too, at least for me. So yeah, so enjoy the rest of the video. You'll see me get up to the top here, and then kind of do a quick little shot of the museum and the gravesite, and then as much of the downhill as I could capture. I missed the last part of it, the battery died, but you get about 85% of the downhill in this video and most of the uphill. So definitely enjoy if you get out there. Send me a note, post up in the comments if you've ridden this before, things you've learned, what you like about it, maybe what you hate about it, your experience. And then if you've done the triple, I would love to hear about that too, because I'm definitely planning on doing it next year. I'm hooked. It was fantastic. So my plan is to do the triple bypass, and then 2 weeks later do Judgment Day out here in Dallas, which actually is next weekend, so I'm getting ready for that. I'm going to try to take video of that and post that up as well. Anyways, I appreciate you guys spending time watching the video. Looking forward to hear from you, and I'll see you out on the trails. Huh?
You're ahead of me.
Thank you.
fantastic.
If you take a right here, there's a little bit of a climb, and then you get to the Buffalo Bill Museum and gravesite, and the vistas here and the scenery is just gorgeous. At any point along kind of the fence and the paved lookout points, you can get amazing photos. So make sure you spend some time there if you get to the top. And now we start the downhill. I think at some places I got up as high as 40 miles an hour, which for me, never going downhill at that speed on a road bike, was scary and amazing at the same time. I'm sure for you seasoned roadies, 40 miles an hour is nothing. I get it, right? I got faster when I went down the Loveland Pass in Juniper at the triple, but at least my first exposure to it was amazing. So if you haven't experienced that yet, wait till you get the downhill part. It is absolutely probably the best part.